You know when big artists that have done a lot of things inside of a genre that they were known for and then decide to experiment and it's very Marmite. It's either a hit or a miss. That's exactly what this album is.
What I know is money and beef, don't think I left it all in the past. How these old boys say they want beef and they ain't got bread, that's all in the ass. Give me young boys that.
So Headie One has been on a long journey from the one mixtape, then the 1-2, and Music and Road, and I kind of have been there on most of that journey. Before the one mixtape, I really wasn't really aware of Headie, but there were quite a lot of tracks on there that I like, and a lot of people say even to this day that's his best project. But what I found interesting was him hooking up with Fred again. I had never heard of Fred again, and it's not really out of my wheelhouse because as a kid I was very into like dubstep, trap, that sort of stuff, drum and bass, jungle. So EDM is never really out of my wheelhouse. So Fred, he's known for a lot of kind of trance club vibes and kind of introducing that to house and coming with a lot of big name production under his belt and a lot of different credits. So Fred again really has a good name for himself. So having the two of them come together, we saw them come together for Charades. Charades is the first track on this, and I feel like Charades, it's an interesting experiment because it's got those 808s underneath it that you expect from a drill track, but the melody is very much Fred taking you more to the house side of things. Not necessarily deep house, just house. And Headie One using his kind of aptitude for singing in a different way. He does like to sing a lot in general. The one mixtape, 1-2 mixtape, Music and Road, he's known for singing. So at this point, that's not what's surprising. What's surprising to me is the use of kind of the auto-tune and the vocal range in which he's at. And it infuriates me how at a lot of points on this album, the auto-tune's just overused. And it's used blatantly to cover for his lack of vocal range, because a lot of the times he's trying to hit notes that he just can't hit very well.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
And then the auto-tune over the top, it doesn't cover that weakness, it just makes it worse.
You're just ruining it. Look at my lips, you're ruining it.
To move on to Told, I like Told. Told, it's got a lot of kind of Psy influences, like Psytrance influences, kind of mixed in with what is known as kind of a Jersey club trap. If you're wondering what the fuck any of those genres are, Psytrance sounds a bit like this. And Jersey club trap sounds a bit like this.
And I really wanna know. Pulling out the coupe in the lot, coupe in the lot. Buzzing out the coupe in the, pulling out the coupe in the lot, coupe in the lot. Buzzing out the coupe in the, pulling out the coupe in the lot.
So it's the mixture of those two. So in terms of Jersey club, you've got the way in which he specifically uses the vocal loops in a tighter way, along with the drum pattern and the BPMs. That is generally what makes that part of Told. And then the other half, the Psytrance elements, it's very much the kind of dreamy electronic synth melodies that you find on Told as well. So I did find that Told, in terms of a club vibe, more of a festival vibe rather than club, songs like Told will definitely do really well here. And also and definitely if we're talking festival vibes, the song Know Me will do really well, which we're going to move on to now. Know Me is a lot more of a bouncy tune, it's a lot more upbeat, it's got like kind of a more pumping bass line to it. I don't necessarily know what genre I've related to because it's not quite trap, it's not moving into the kind of techno vibes either, but Fred again does like screwing around with genres when it comes to EDM, and that's what I like about him. But in terms of the looped melodies again, in terms of how they're used in line with the drums, that's very Jersey club trap, so that's something that I noticed. I understand that a lot of this isn't going to be, if you're looking for Headie One to do kind of, yeah, I've got big bars and that sort of stuff, and kind of big drill tunes, you're going to hate this, because that's not what this album is. But I do think lyrically he is talking about the same sort of things, and Know Me, in terms of the actual rapping segments, the topics are still the same. He's still rapping about the same stuff that he would on Music and Road 1 or the 1-2 mixtape. The content is still the same. But lyrically, I understand that it takes a bit of a backseat. But even so, it's not too far out of the wheelhouse that people would hate it as much as I feel people are hating it on Twitter. I think some of it is unfounded. But speaking of grievances, we're going to go back to the grievance of vocal range, because Gang, even though that's the single that was released previously to this, as soon as I saw him go for that high note, I was like, no. It's just, no. I'm sorry, but no. It's weird because you can hear him physically straining himself to hit those notes, and you can clearly hear that it's out of his vocal range, but for some weird reason you thought auto-tune was going to make it better. You know from the amount that you've used auto-tune that that's not how auto-tune works. It's not how it works. It's you see why I need you here. Like, what is this? You already know this information, so why are you doing it? But all that aside, my favourite song on here is actually Smoke, because Smoke comes off as like just a straight up trance tune in a kind of festival rave. So take Ultra as a festival, for example. If that plays at Ultra, it's going to be a good tune. It's going to be a decent kind of mosh tune, a good vibe tune. It's going to get crowds bumping. But it's not necessarily a club tune in that aspect. Like, I understand when you're thinking of a rave, you're thinking of kind of your modern day club where you have your hip hop room and playing all those kind of things. You have to realize that this album isn't to be played in that sort of setting, and it does well at festivals, but not the ones that you may attend, if that makes sense, depending on who you are watching this video. So yeah, that does make sense. To talk about the features on this, FK Twigs, she does a really good job on Judge Me. I really love her vocals on that, and it's yet again the kind of trance, dreamy EDM style that he's kind of gone for with Judge Me. But in particular, because it's an interlude, he's just cut out the bass line for it and just let the melodies kind of do their thing, and it really suits what this tape is, which is basically what happens when a drill rapper meets EDM for the first time. But funnily enough, what's weird to me is that this is a trend I eventually saw coming. If you look back at grime, eventually grime, well, in the history of grime and dubstep have always been quite well related, and garage as well. So later on, we had more interactions with grime MCs fucking with more EDM genres, and when that happened, we got good results. So I'm thinking now, wait, drill is probably going to end up doing the same thing. Let's see what happens. And this, I guess, is the kind of first iteration where this has kind of happened, and I guess it hasn't been received well, but I do think there's room for this idea and this sound to grow, that drill and the umbrella that is EDM and all the subgenres underneath it, they can come together to make something nice. And Smoke is where I think that combination comes in best together. So the outro with Sampha, I kind of liked it. It kind of rounds out what they were trying to do together, but I think Sampha's vocals really do steal the show here. It's more of a traditional rap beat than everything else on here. So if there's any of the songs that you're probably going to like, if you hated the album as a whole, it's probably going to be this one. But then what's going to immediately piss you off, like it did with me, is that they double up the vocals with a layer of auto-tune over the top for reasons that are completely beyond all of us. Fuck my life.
Jesus is Lord!
Overall, what am I going to give it? I'm probably going to go C/C-. I think there's definitely potential here with the combination of drill and the kind of umbrella that is EDM. I do like all the different sounds were incorporated, so the kind of Psytrance elements, and then you've got the Jersey club stuff. It's really cool, but I just think that too much auto-tune. It's just too much auto-tune in so many different places, and it doesn't save Headie One from his vocal range. You already know how auto-tune works. You know that's it's just not gonna work. No, why? But My other grievance with a lot of this tape in general is that I feel like you didn't have to sacrifice what Headie One does best and what his fans love him for, which is having quotable bars in there and punchlines. Yeah, there were a couple of them, but you don't have to sacrifice it too much to the point where general Headie fans can't come back to this album and say, yeah, this is Headie. It's still Headie, right? But in terms of topics and concepts, it's still Headie because he's still rapping about the same stuff in the same style with the same flows. But I feel like it's a lazy Headie, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's what I thought of the tape as a whole. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm trying a different recording style. Might feel a little bit messy and a little bit crazy, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.